Welcome. My name is Trinity Clark, and I was, along with Fran Livingston, the co founder to what was once the South Dakota chapter of LOVE. After the South Dakota chapter of LOVE was dissolved from the dysfunctional registered nonprofit rating, I went on following my purpose to found Love Chapters USA and Love Chapters Earth. Quite quickly, and in agreement with my team members, I put the entire operation under the command of God by becoming the overseer and successor, a corporation soul of the Love Chapters Earth Church. The question is, what is Love Chapters? Love Chapters is a mission of humanitarian outreach. Love is what is written upon the heart of those that come together to become an affiliate Love Chapter office serving their community of locale. Love Chapters is a church, a sum of organs joined by the purpose of heart and loyal belief. Love is healing. Love is you. Love is me. Love is earth. What is love? Ask 100 people what love is, and you'll get 100 different answers. Yet love is written about throughout the Bible. The most profound biblical telling of love is John chapter 3 verse 16. For God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that whoever believes in him shall not perish, but have eternal life. How did the message of love, the essence of love's definition, get so inverted and perverted? Love is light. Biblical teachings are the beacons of light that show us through the path through the darkness. The lack of love covenants us in the darkness. I was born in Massachusetts in the 50s to middle class parents. My father, a mechanic by trade and business owner, my mother, an entrepreneurial spirit, the daughter of a widowed mechanic and salvage yard owner. Both my parents were raised in the dirty 30s, and their young adult years shadowed by World War II. I was the firstborn and only child to my mother, and the second-born to my father, who would go on to have 6 additional children scattered somewhere between Massachusetts and Puerto Rico. My mother liked to drive as if she had gypsy blood, so taking off for a week or so without warning or planning was customary, even after my birth. My father, a devout Catholic by his word, had seemed to lose all sense of loyalty to marriage vows or biblical law. Needless to say, that marriage ended in divorce. I was age 1.5. After the divorce, my mom had to go to work to support us. She was a woolen mill spinner, a hard labor intensive job, a job that did not compensate equal pay for equal work between men and women. My mom had to travel more than an hour to work each day and back, and the hours were not accommodating to a single mom raising a child, so I had to be boarded out by the week. I grew up not only an only child, but a very lonely child, even though most of the places I was boarded had other children. I was different. I wasn't part of their family. I was just there. No one tucked me in at night. No one read a story to me. And no one kissed me on my forehead before shutting out the lights. Even the food I ate was different than the other children, as was the list of chores expected of me. Their birthday celebrations were filled with balloons and cake and ice cream and visitors and gifts. Mine were often unnoticed. I would often overhear adult conversations in the evenings, horrible conversations between the moms and the dads, belittling my mother and speaking of my growing up to be worthless. I had paid the price so many times for being the boarded child, yet I never once heard that talked about. That was always a secret, and to divulge that secret would mean the loss of yet another home and extra chores. After years of secrets kept, I told my mom about the secret games on the ride to my mom's house for a weekend visit. Oh, the look on her face, the anger in her eyes, and the abrupt removal from that home told me that those secrets were wrong. My mom was angry with me too. She lost her job because she had nowhere to board me. I would go to many more homes over the years, including an orphanage. The physical, mental, and sexual abuse continued, and by me accepted, because I accepted that I was a throwaway child, a child with no value, a child unlovable, and a child of service to men. While in the orphanage, going to a public school, I was subjected to a different kind of abuse that today would be called excessive bullying. I was also punished by the orphanage for what others did to me or my belongings, like clothing or books. Chores at the orphanage were particularly harsh. My knees were permanently bruised from my 3 years of oilclothing the floors every day. The nuns repeatedly told us that if our parents were worth anything, we wouldn't even be there. In spite of all the negative, I managed through it by spending most of my time in my dream world. At 14, I became a habitual runaway until my first child was born. One day, I would make an orphanage like no other. There would be row houses that would house a mom and a dad and children who needed a mom and a dad. There'd be ample food and everyone would eat the same food. There would be beautiful bedrooms for the children, not a cot in the corner with tattered blankets. There'd still be chores, but the family would do them together. They would talk about Jesus and pray before meals in bed. They would be tucked in. They would be read to and kissed on the forehead good night. The children would go to a special school within the established grounds, a school that celebrated the arts, a school that celebrated the talents and strengths of each child, not their shortcomings. A healthful harmony in education for which to keep life moving forward in balance. And as I began to dream about this special place for the lonely and unloved children, I began to draw it on paper, and I gave it the name David House, after the story of David and Goliath. David House became Love's Ranch when I figured out that the earth just needed a whole lot more love. Thus, the dream of love chapters. It started slow as the South Dakota chapter of Love after a visit with the Ladies of Vitamist in Phoenix, attended by Fran and myself. Of course, we went the path we knew, a corporate 501c3 nonprofit that ended up a royal nightmare. Also, 7 years ago came the divine vision of numbers that I was persuaded to write down, and that would be heavily persuaded, which would become the pod magic system, now used as the funding mechanism for all Love Chapter offices. We went from the South Dakota chapter of Love to expanding the vision to Love Chapters USA and Love's Ranch to now Love Chapters Earth Church. The word love without the E is vital in the chapter names because love is for everyone willing to accept it, willing to believe in the depth of one's heart to love their neighbor as themselves. And so it is that love was the perfect name. Love was what we all needed and what we must all learn to share with one another. Love is a picture of truth and light, and it isn't reserved for a small orphanage called David House, or a place where disabled children and those falling through the cracks of life can find love at Love's Ranch. But love is for the community of humanity. Love is many communities, and collectively, we are Love Earth. I went on from my childhood to have six natural children and a seventh child I adopted at his birth. The picture of my life isn't always pretty, but it certainly was filled with a philanthropic vision to get me through the rough spots and to give a goal of mission for the future. Well, that future is now, and it's playing out in Love Chapter offices. And one might question why it was so fitting for Love Chapters to become a church. When your thinking is in line with that of the Holy Spirit, mountains begin to move. I remember the pine grove as a little girl, the place I learned to talk to the wind and dance among the eloquently full skirted ladies of the forest, the dancing pines. I'd spend hours there. While dancing and speaking to the wind came the beautiful visionary in my head that carried far beyond my physical stance. Over the years, I would learn to escape where I was, the current situation, to one without pain, sheltered by the skirts of the beautiful dancing ladies, the winds lulling to me of peace, of calm, of love, and of strength to forgive. I can't say that I'm always in tune with the Holy Spirit or that I have ever been a good Christian, but at different times throughout my life, I have been persuaded by the wind, given direction, and even made choices that otherwise would have meant physical death. The journey of Love Chapters has fallen in and out of that direction, and when falling out has stagnated. When I, as founder of Love Chapters and overseer of Love Chapters Earth Church, tune into what the wind whispers and its prodding direction, and accept it, follow it, then Love Chapters once again moves forward into existence. Why was it so fitting for Love Chapters to become a church? How is it that you can work on something for 7 years that is totally selfless and in tune with the whispers within the wind, yet no one else can understand it? And how is it there is a divine system to create the vision of love and multiply many humanitarian visions of love missions, yet so many people will undermine it with their selfness? How is it so much was so right, yet it's so hidden from plain sight? I tried so hard to truly forgive, to let go of the past and move on into the future of helping other children to heal through forgiveness. How do you molest a child 2 years old? Didn't anybody care? Didn't anybody see what was going on? How can this happen? There is always a silver lining. Surely good will peek out from all this ugly. And it did. It's called love. I was led to a corporation soul for the works of love, a church, a necessary part of that configuration of freedom, and one I did not feel worthy of. I would be attesting to my faith of belief in my God, the Creator, and the blood of Jesus that was sacrificed for my soul's salvation. That wasn't a problem. But I was also actually committing to pastoral duty, of which someone that lived my life surely was not worthy. I read my Bible often. I don't always know what I read, and I certainly don't remember where I read it by the next day. What kind of pastoral leadership could I provide? But the wind spoke and gently prodded me to follow through with the corporation soul as Love Chapters Earth Church. I followed the testament of the wind and peace came over me. Then the wind whispered again and led me before Reverend Kevin Annette in Salem, South Dakota. I spent most of the day in servitude to the other guests, but I was tuned into the wind and I received the message loud and clear. I suppose he, Kevin, was just thinking I should quit serving and listen. But it didn't matter at all because I made the connection and I became part of the covenanted community, which freed me to live my life and help masses through the divine design of what had just become Love Chapters Earth Church. The final pieces of Love Chapters Earth puzzle were solidified in place as Love Chapters Earth Church and as part of the covenanted community and under God's intended law through the common law courts. So now we move forward with the winds at our back guiding our direction. Certainly, Love Chapters Earth was fitting. Love Chapters Earth Church is a borderless church of societal healing and humanitarian outreach. I want to repeat that again. Love Chapters Earth Church is a borderless church of societal healing and humanitarian outreach, operating by the biblical guidance of the Creator's law, not the laws made by man, indoctrinated to enslave man into servitude to men of self proclaimed godliness. Did you expect a steeple bell tower? A church of the most magnificent structure of beauty, embellished with beautiful works of artistry, may be breathtaking of its beauty, but it is no closer to God than the earthen below my knees. A church is the body of the sum of its vital organs. You and I are the organs which make up the body of the church. But if there should ever be a steeple bell tower or a pipe organ sending beautiful music beyond its walls, it'll be because the body of organs have gathered within spirit, making it walls of the church. Part 2 of Love Chapters: what Love Chapters Earth is, how it operates, and what it looks like. So, what are love chapters? Well, love chapters are teams of 8 that come together in many different locations to facilitate the mission of Love Chapters Earth Church in that particular location. So, what is the mission? Well, the mission is of societal healing in each Love Chapter Earth Church locale through education in the 8 F's of family, faith, finances, fun, following, friends, fitness, and freedom. We educate to conquer the 7 mountains of decline. Those 7 mountains we need to conquer are spirituality, family, education, government, media, arts and entertainment, and business. We work together within the community to sustain the community as such and promote the cultivation of basic human sustainability needs for the community and by the community. We promote God's intention for us as a network of people helping people. We each have talents, resources, and strengths, but not one of us alone can change the world, but together we can and will make a difference. What we are most proud of is that we are not only a mission, but we are a mission of missions. Love Chapters Earth Church has a mission of healing and sustainability at the community level. This mission will be easily seen within the communities of locale by the community. Our tagline of being the People Helping People Network will be obvious, as with our value for value system of handing up rather than handing down or handing out, all which is part of being a community. However, the biggest mission of love is the value for value stance of ethics that we hold in faith for those that help us bring the mission of love chapters to the communities. The resources provided by our willingness to build love chapters also provides the financial resources for each team member of a Love Chapters Earth Church location to bring their mission into light. Faith, the first of 8 F's, with spirituality being one of the mountains to conquer. Religion is little more than a cult where man gathers a following by donning the cloak of an all knowing hierarchy and perverting the glory of God to serve his needs to keep his followers ignorant and faithful to the particular religion and doctrines of that religion. Simply put, the definition of faith, the meaning of faith, is nothing more than an understanding, a belief, a thought about something, someone, some situation that cannot be proven. Inherently, faith allows for no tangible evidence to be made available, at least that you know of, which would back up or support your claim, idea, theory, or thought. It is simply an overwhelming understanding that to you is convincing. Church educates on faith. Family. Family is a unit joined by blood. Family is a unit joined by faith. Family is a unit joined by community, and family is a unit joined by species or habitat. We are all family by our species, and that the earth is our habitat, but more so is that we're created as the earth in which we live. So we're a family under the Father of all that is, the Alpha and the Omega. Sadly, the smallest scope of the family is ill and diseased, and collectively the earth and its inhabitants. Healing the family unit bound by blood, one family at a time, will collectively begin to heal the earth. Healing begins at home, but in order to begin at home, we must educate ourselves to identify the ills. We must work to resolve our findings. What would your community look like if the family units within were healed? At Love Chapters Earth Church, we promote education into resolving the ills of individual family units to make a collective difference. Family and community. people, helping people. Fitness, one of the 8 F's. This is the last of the 8 F's I will discuss before closing on the note of what Love Chapters Earth Office is and does in conclusion. When one sees the word fitness, they usually think of an exercise or the gym, but fitness is about our sustainability as a whole of being human. It is about the food we eat, the water we drink, the air we breathe, movement, and how we address matters of the heart, the mind, soul, body, as well as how we approach healing, which is sometimes referred to under the title of health and well being, or spiritual realms of well being. Each day, media outlets throw advertising at us about the newest, latest, greatest drug to fix an ailment that likely will become the defendant of the future in a class action lawsuit of wrongful death or worsen health. The only way we can stop the madness is through education of ourselves in natural health and of well being. Community gardens, aquaponics, ecodomes, no GMOs, no processing, natural herbs for natural healing, historical and natural New Age healing, ecosystems within our communities to sustain our communities. We can do this, one community at a time, and collectively too many. So, what are love chapters? Love Chapters Earth Church represents a community of communities, 8 member teams with the mission of humanitarian outreach, of education, and human sustainability within their community of locale, a network of people helping people. Teams of 8, organs of a local community Love Chapter Earth Church, promote the mission of love, education, and sustainability within their community. Part of the Love Chapters Earth Church mission is to facilitate the humanitarian based missions of the Love Chapters team members, organs of the Love Chapters Earth Church. The funding mechanism of the Pod Magic system used to fund Love Chapters also funds the missions of the organ members of the teams operating the Love Chapter office. Our main goal within the country of locale is to educate and sustain the community as a community and of the needs identified within it. We educate, we feed, we clothe, and we comfort, but we do not hand down. We hand up, value for value. We roll up our sleeves and sweat our brows for the benefit of the community. We pay it forward in hopes of creating an epidemic of people helping people. Paying it forward, always. So you have Trinity Clark and Team Earth, Love Chapters Earth Church. I and my Pod Magic teammates as Love Chapters Earth team have a vision for humanity, a mission to heal and sustain the earth, one community at a time. By paying it forward through a team's use of the Pod Magic system, many persons fund their personal missions, while the mission of Love Chapters Earth would be growing at the same time. The Love Earth team engages 17 states to represent their state, province, or island with a Love Chapter's office. Each one of those states or provinces is an 8-person team, or pod, that engages in the pod magic system. They will identify 17 communities in their state or province that will represent their community with a team of 8 who will then identify 17 additional communities. If each of the teams are made up of 8 persons and half have personal missions, how many missions is that? How love chapters operate within the community. A love chapter's Earth church founder of a location is identified. They can become an overseer of their church of locale, a corporation soul, or operate under the enrolling church. They appoint 7 other team members, organs of the church that will fulfill the duties of the church body in the community of locale. Those so called titles are the original founder that was appointed as the director, a possible co founder, but for sure a co director, a secretary, a treasurer, and 4 trustees with various duty obligations as part of the Love Chapters Earth Church team in that location. Make no mistake, this is not a corporate entity. We have positions of duty for transparency, checks, and balances on carrying out our ecclesiastical constitutional bylaws of operation. The chapter office begins operation on seed monies provided by the organ's use of the Pod Magic system of funding their personal missions. The Love Chapter office operates on a value for value system versus a Robin Hood type nonprofit agency that takes from those that have within the community to give to those that don't, or for particular causes. By keeping a value for value system, we learn to employ the talents, resources, and strengths of our community for the community versus a hand down which depletes the seed monies backing the efforts of the Love Chapter's office. We offer many educational formats within our office protocol for the community, both in class and hands on education forms, all focused on building and healing the community. We maintain libraries within our offices for both in office study and loan. We hold informational classes within the office or on location for hands on trainings. If you've been waiting for a detailed picture or blueprint of what Love Chapters looks like in your community to appear on the screen, or hear the details in my voice, you'll be overcome with disappointment. As much as we are each the same, we are different. As much as a community needs to become a community, the demographics of the community and the makeup of the people within the community and the ills identified within the community paint the picture of love, not me. You might say that Love Chapters Earth is my mission, but my mission isn't about me. It isn't even about you. It is about all of us that share this earth. Yes, there are things moving forward that will create a need for mandates. But all in all, Love Chapters is like passing a torch. And we each need to carry it within our own form. My mission is a torch. I pass it to you. It is light and love. Carry it into your community. It is the organs of your Love Chapters Earth Church that will become the picture of love. Funding. Funding Love Chapters Earth. Listen carefully. Funding the missions of the Love Chapters officers' organs. Funding of the seed money to each Love Chapters office is orchestrated by the participation of organs of the church office in the Pod Magic system applied to several network marketing businesses. Participation in the Pod Magic system is part of the constitutional bylaws of the Love Chapters Earth Church for the intent of populating Love Chapters offices in many communities throughout the world, as well as burden the multiples, and I did say multiples, of humanitarian outreach missions written on the hearts of the Love Chapters Earth Church organ officers. The love of money and idolizing the trinkets it buys is not the same as creating healing through the art of humanitarian outreach and the purpose driven resources money can afford. There is much to be learned by the world of the importance of God's law and of the value for value, and we shall lead from the front by example. Did you know that a shepherd leads his flock from the front? The end of parts 1 and 2. We'll continue with a merge of parts 3 and 4 in video 2. This concludes video 1.